Have you ever felt a tug in your chest, like some tiny but insistent voice is begging you to pull back the curtains on reality? Imagine you're wandering through a dusty weekend market, half bored, when your fingers brush a weather-beaten book that almost seems to hum. No flashy cover, no ISBN, just one line written in ink the color of old wine, the chronicle of the hidden healer. The very moment you crack it open, the whole city's soundscape mutes, as if the world itself is holding its breath. You don't read the first sentence, you remember it, the way you remember a dream you haven't dreamed yet. And suddenly, that tug in your chest turns into a full-on drumbeat. Crazy image, right? But that's exactly what today's journey feels like. I'm not here to toss another self-help hack at you. I'm here to help you dust off that secret manual already tattooed on your bones. The modern hustle has convinced us that healing is an external service, something you book like a taxi or stream like a show. But deep down, you know better. You were born with a built-in operating system for transformation. It just got buried under pop-ups, deadlines, and someone else's idea of success. So, take a breath. Let's step together into the hush between heartbeats and blow the cobwebs off your inner archive. I promise, no white coats, no incense-required rituals, just a raw conversation with the part of you that has waited lifetimes to be heard. Ready? Good. Because the second you say yes, the chronicle stops being fiction and starts being a mirror. First, let's get one myth out of the way. A healer isn't a superhero in flowing robes zapping wounds closed with violet light. A healer is anyone, yes, anyone who can hold their own energy so steady that chaos forgets how to exist around them. Picture your favorite calm friend. You know, the one whose apartment feels like a spa, even when the sink is full of dishes. They didn't do anything miraculous. Their presence alone rearranged the atoms of the room. That's coherence, and it's your natural setting before the world hits you with shawls, cards, and be realistic. But coherence isn't gained by chanting yourself into flotation. It starts with brutal, loving honesty. Imagine your soul as a cluttered attic, dusty boxes labeled past hurt, unspoken fear, forgotten joy. Most of us slam the attic door and slap a motivational poster on the landing. The chronicle asks you to swing that door wide, yank every box into the sunlight, and as weird as it sounds, thank each dusty relic for the lesson it carries. Shadow isn't a monster under the bed, it's an unopened letter from your younger self. Read it, and you free both of you. Let's zoom in further. Every emotion you dodge becomes a static buzz in your personal soundtrack. You try to mask it with louder music work, scrolling performance, but the buzz never leaves. What happens when you finally turn down the volume instead? You catch the faint melody beneath the noise, your authentic frequency. And once you're tuned to that station, the static dissolves like fog at sunrise. That's the first craft of the hidden healer: tuning, not fixing. Now, before your brain screams, but how? Pause and feel your own pulse. Really, do it index and middle finger on the wrist, gentle pressure. Each thump is a Morse code message spelling, I'm alive. I'm here. That's lesson 1 of the chronicle in bite-sized form. Presence is power. 100 fancy techniques without presence are fireworks in daylight, flashy but pointless. 1 second of true presence can melt years of frozen emotion. Not because presence is dramatic, but because it is reality unfiltered. Here's a metaphor I adore. Think of your consciousness as a glass of pure water. Negative thoughts? A drop of ink. Repressing the thought is like stirring the ink faster, it just clouds the whole glass. Presence is setting the glass on a windowsill until the sediment settles, letting light pass through again. Nothing forced, nothing ignored, just patience and clarity. You might be wondering, does this mean I never seek help? Of course not. We're communal creatures. Sometimes we need someone else's flashlight. But the best guides aren't surgeons cutting you open. They're mirrors shining back the surgeon already inside you. If a mentor, therapist, or friend doesn't leave you feeling more sovereign, they're not walking the healer's path. They're renting out your power at an hourly rate. So how do we cultivate that sovereignty in everyday chaos? Let's try a micro practice right now. Close your eyes unless you're driving, in which case, maybe park first. Imagine your breath as a gentle tide rolling in from an endless ocean tucked inside your ribs. On the inhale, the tide carries fresh, shimmering water. On the exhale, it draws back anything stale, yesterday's worry, tomorrow's guesswork. Do this for 3 breaths. Feel how the shoulders unclench, the jaw softens. That's not relaxation, it's reclamation. 10 seconds, and you've already shifted the signal your energy field broadcasts. You see how simple this can be. The Chronicle never intended healing to be a 12-step labyrinth. Complexity sells. Simplicity heals. Think of it like a radio dial. The clearer the station, the fewer the knobs you need to twist. But we're just sipping the surface here. Underneath, there's the second art, wielding words as spells. Sounds dramatic, yet science backs it up. Vibrations matter. When you say, "I'm broken," your cells gather like characters obeying a script. Swap it with, "I'm rebuilding," and watch those cells reach for new blueprints. The Chronicle insists every syllable you utter is a seed. Plant complaints, harvest disappointment. Plant conscious intent, harvest possibility. Simple, profound, terrifying, liberating. Now, why does the world downplay this? Because empowered individuals are unpredictable. They buy less, fear less, and refuse to be herded. Institutions love predictable patterns. Awakened humans are lightning bolts in sneakers. So mainstream culture glorifies external authority while mocking inner authority as woo-woo fluff. Meanwhile, that tug in your chest keeps tapping. Sightening is your birthright. Let's pause. Feel the atmosphere between us right now. Even through a screen, intention travels. I'm not feeding you new data. I'm lighting matchsticks along corridors you already own. So you've dusted off the cover, taken those first lungfuls of presence, and felt the hush settle inside. Nice. Now comes the part most people sprint past like a haunted house at dusk. The attic cleanout. Remember those dusty boxes labeled past hurt and unspoken fear? We're cracking them open gently, but for real. Why? Because every unopened box leaks a slow poison into the present. You can perfume the air all day, yet the smell keeps creeping back until you deal with the source. Ready to swap air freshener for fresh air? Let's roll. Picture this. Your inner world is a vast theater. The spotlight loves to stay on the obvious: your job, your relationships, the daily headlines scrolling across your forehead. But lurking in the wings are understudy emotions, each clutching a script they never got to read out loud. The Chronicle calls these unvoiced roles your cast of shadows. They're not villains. They're ignored artists starving for stage time. Deny them, and they'll sabotage the show-tripping wires, stealing scenes, whispering doubts during your biggest moments. Invite them to speak, and the entire production levels up. How do we offer that invitation without getting swallowed by old drama? Easy to say, trickier to live, but totally doable. We practice loving detective work. Think Sherlock Holmes, but instead of a magnifying glass, you carry curiosity and compassion. An odd irritation flares when a coworker double-clicks their pen. Instead of muttering, "I'm just cranky," pause. Ask, what's the story behind this flash? Maybe that clicking echoes a childhood memory of adults arguing at the dinner table. Suddenly the itch makes sense. Once an emotion is understood, it relaxes like an actor finally hearing "cut, great job." Here's a mini exercise straight from the Chronicle's more cryptic margins. Tonight, before bed, grab any small object, a key, a spoon, whatever, and hold it like you're about to share your deepest secret with it. Close your eyes and breathe until you feel the object's cool surface steady in your palm. Whisper, out loud if possible, "Show me one hidden feeling I'm ready to meet." Then wait. Maybe a flash of embarrassment pops up, or a pang of grief you thought you'd filed away. Don't wrestle, don't analyze, just breathe alongside it for 2 minutes. When you're done, place the object somewhere safe. You've just scheduled an appointment with honesty, and honesty always shows. Sounds weird? Sure. Effective? Absolutely. Shadow isn't impressed by long lectures. It responds to ritual and sincerity. The object is merely a permission slip for your subconscious to speak without filters. Let's widen the lens. Collective shadow is a thing too. Whole cultures shove inconvenient truths into communal attics. Emotions like vulnerability, tenderness, even genuine wonder. Society then sells you knockoff versions. Buy this and feel brave. Watch that and feel alive. You end up mainlining substitutes while the real substance waits inside, free of charge, labeled "Do Not Open." The hidden healer sees through the scout. By healing your private shadows, you poke pinholes in the collective fog. Light leaks out. Others see your glow and realize, maybe for the first time, that the attic door in their own chest isn't locked after all. But won't diving into darkness drag me backward? Fair question. Here's the twist. You're not diving into the dark. You're diving through it. Think of darkness as a tunnel, not a pit. At the far end glows a version of you unafraid to feel. Every tears streak moment becomes jet fuel once processed. Ever notice how thunderstorms leave the air electric and clean? Emotional storms do the same. Dodge them, and you just prolong the humidity. Let's ground this with a real-life scenario. Say you're scrolling late at night, and jealousy sucker punches you when a friend announces their dream vacation. Old reflex, slam the phone down, label yourself petty, binge a show to numb the sting. Healer's reflex, inhale, exhale, name it jealousy. You're here, then ask it kindly, "What do you wish I knew?" Maybe jealousy says, "I crave adventure." Boom, truth revealed. Instead of stewing, you plan a weekend hike, budget for that road trip, or even just watch a travel vlog with intentional joy. Jealousy morphs from gremlin to compass, pointing toward an unlived desire. The Chronicle loves emphasizing that alchemy begins where labels end. Calling an emotion bad is like slapping a biohazard sticker on a gold mine. Sure, digging is messy, but the treasure funds your freedom. Another tool, the mirror fade method. Stand before a mirror, soften your gaze until your features blur slightly. Whisper the name of a tough emotion: shame, anger, loneliness. Watch any micro-expressions dance across your face. Don't correct them. Let them move. After about 60 seconds, you'll notice the emotion shift from sharp to fluid, like ice melting into water. That fluidness is healing in action, energy regaining motion. Wipe a fogged window, and everything outside snaps into focus. Now, a crucial checkpoint. Radical responsibility doesn't equal self-blame. Shadows form from hurt, conditioning, generational patterns, some not even yours. Owning your healing means choosing response over reaction, not beating yourself up for having baggage. Think of it like inheriting a cluttered house. You didn't pile the boxes, but you decide what stays and what burns. Speaking of inheritance, let's talk ancestral echoes. DNA carries more than eye color. It stores unfinished emotional symphonies. The Chronicle claims every fear you release is a chord struck for your lineage, past and future. When you face your attic, you rewrite family history. It's time travel without the flux capacitor. At this point you might wonder, isn't this heavy work? It can feel intense, yes, but heaviness comes from resistance, not depth. Imagine holding a beach ball underwater, arms trembling, lungs burning. Let it rise, and suddenly there's no effort, just buoyancy bursting through the surface in a fountain of spray. Releasing shadow is like letting the ball go. The splash can be dramatic, but the relief is instant. All right, let's integrate what we've stirred. Place one hand on your belly, the other on your heart. Picture a channel connecting the two, a cosmic elevator. On the inhale, ride the elevator up from belly to heart, scooping any murky feelings along the way. On the exhale, ride back down, washing them through grounding roots into the earth. 5 breaths. Belly to heart, heart to belly. Feel warmer? That's emotional circulation, replacing stagnation. Picture yourself stepping out of that attic into a sun-soaked courtyard. The air tastes brand new, like rain after months of drought. Every breath feels wider, roomier, as though your lungs just discovered extra storage. That's the first sign your inner climate has flipped. Now, the real fun begins, turning this bright inner weather into an everyday forecast one that spills into grocery lines, Zoom calls, and late-night texts until people can't quite name why, but they swear the world looks cleaner whenever you're around. Let's talk coherence, that invisible tuning of mind, body, and heartbeat into one steady chord. Imagine holding a tuning fork beside a guitar string. Pluck the fork, and the string starts vibrating without a single touch. Same deal when your field is clear. Conversations harmonize. Misunderstandings soften. Even ferns on your windowsill perk up. Science calls it entrainment. The Chronicle calls it silent medicine. You don't have to preach enlightenment like some neon billboard. You just hum at your natural pitch and reality quietly slips into key. How do we keep that fork humming in a noisy world? First, anchor into embodied silence. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of depth. Stand in a crowded subway and you'll find pockets of hush between wheel screeches, tiny voids you can drop into, like secret elevators. The moment you sense overwhelm, imagine pressing an internal mute button. One breath later, you're back at that courtyard, no matter where your body sits. Master this, and chaos becomes background music, still loud, but no longer choreographing your dance. Here's a quick ritual. Doorway resets. Every time you cross a physical threshold, bedroom to hallway, home to street, let your feet pause. Inhale, think clear. Exhale, think carry. Clear what isn't yours. Carry what still rings true. 2 seconds tops. Yet stacked through a day, those micro resets knit a safety net so firm that other people's storms slip right through like rain through bamboo. Next layer, conscious language. Remember, every syllable is a seed. Start small. Swap "I'm so busy with my day" as "full." Busy drags frantic energy. Full carries richness. Replace "I have to" with "I get to." It sounds like semantics until you notice yours as unclench. Words are levers, tiny sticks that pry entire realities off their hinges. Use them with the respect you'd give a scalpel or a paintbrush. But word power isn't just about talking better, it's also about sacred muteness. The Chronicle loves paradox, so here's one. Often the most potent sentence is the one you swallow. Before launching advice at a friend's pain, taste the silence. Ask yourself, does my voice add light or just noise? If light, speak. If noise, hold a stillness so steady it becomes a mirror for them to see their own answer glimmering back. People remember that kind of stillness for years. Okay, let's zoom out from the vocal cords to the fingertips. Every habit is a brushstroke on your energetic canvas. Making coffee? Stir clockwise with gratitude, counterclockwise to release tension. Typing an email? Imagine each keystroke sealing goodwill into the message like invisible wax stamps. Showering? Visualize water sluicing stale stories off your skin. These aren't superstitions, they're concentration drills, strengthening the muscle of directed intention until life itself feels like martial arts performed in slow motion. But what if I backslide? You ask. Spoiler, you will. So will I. So did every sage with sandals or sandals adjacent footwear. The trick is to treat wobble like a dance step, not a moral failure. Miss a morning silence? Laugh, reboot at lunch. Snap at your partner? Apologize fast, breathe faster, bank the lesson. Your field isn't porcelain, it's self-healing fabric. Every snag weaves stronger once you knot it with awareness. One more piece, ripple economics. When your presence hits coherence, it doesn't just uplift friends, it tweaks the larger field. Think of collective consciousness as a massive lake. Most folks toss in pebbles of stress all day, plip, plip, plip. You drop one smooth stone of calm, and its circles spread farther than you'd expect, because calm travels unopposed. The Chronicle insists civilizations have pivoted on fewer ripples than you'll create over a single lifetime of inner maintenance. Big claim? Maybe. But even if you only lighten one other heart, you've already shifted a lineage. Let's seal this with a 3-step integration drill, the Chronicle's version of a cool-down stretch. Morning pulse check. Before your eyes even open, feel for the quietest sound in your body heartbeat. Breath hiss, whoosh of blood. Nod to it like an old friend. 5 seconds. Presence downloaded. Midday gratitude drop. At random, name something ordinary that's saving your sanity: clean socks, functioning Wi-Fi, the citrus zing in your water. Say it aloud or in the mind's private chat. Gratitude is coherence fertilizer. Nightly light sweep. Lying in bed, picture a lantern floating from toes to scalp, gathering fragments of the day. Anything heavy sinks out through your soles into the earth. Anything bright settles in your chest like an ember primed for sunrise. Do this for 7 sunsets and watch how bars feel less claustrophobic, deadlines less carnivorous, how even streetlights seem to halo instead of glare. That's not placebo, it's perception unboxed. And now, dear traveler, we close the Chronicle, but notice something? There's no latch, no shelf to shove it on, because the page is morphed into your breath, your posture, the hush behind your eyes. You're the living sequel now. Every sidewalk becomes parchment, every handshake signs a new chapter. Will some days shred the manuscript into confetti? Sure, confetti still glitters when sunlight hits. If this trilogy flickered any lamp inside you, feed it. Subscribe, share, tattoo the insights on a sticky note or your steering wheel, whatever keeps the ripple rolling. Somewhere, someone's attic is rattling, waiting for the courage echo your coherence will supply. Let's meet them in that courtyard of bright air where strangers recognize each other without names. Until then, walk tall, speak gold, hold silence like a chalice, because you, my friend, are no longer just a reader. You are the healer the story was written to remember.